My wedding got cancelled because my fiancé's drunk friend posted the wrong thing on Instagram. Plot twist. I should be thanking that friend. So I am sitting here in my apartment eating leftover pizza and trying to process what just happened to my life. 2 weeks ago, I was a guy getting married. Today, I am a guy who just dodged the most expensive bullet of his life. I am Jace 28M shift supervisor at a manufacturing plant. Not glamorous, but it pays decent, and I have been there 6 years working my way up. I am the kind of guy who believes in doing things right, showing up on time, keeping your word, treating people fairly. Maybe that makes me boring, but it has worked for me so far. My now ex-fiancée Ren, 26F, and I have been together for 2 years. She works as a hostess at this upscale restaurant downtown. Always looks put together, knows how to talk to people. Complete opposite of me in a lot of ways, but I thought that is what made us work. She brought out my social side. I gave her stability. Classic opposites attract situation. We got engaged 8 months ago. Nothing fancy. I am not a grand gesture guy, but I saved up for a decent ring and proposed at the place where we had our first date. She said yes, cried happy tears, the whole thing. Started planning the wedding immediately. And man, did we plan. Ren had vision. I will give her that. She found this beautiful venue about an hour outside town, wanted a specific caterer, had ideas about flowers and music and all the details I wouldn't have thought of. The price tag kept climbing, but she would say things like it is our special day. We only do this once, and honestly, she wasn't wrong. I wanted her to have the wedding she dreamed about. Between the venue, catering, photographer, flowers, her dress, the works, I ended up putting down about $15,000. Pretty much wiped out my savings, but I figured that is what you do when you are building a life with someone. The honeymoon in Mexico was another $3,000 in deposits, but we were both excited about it. The wedding was supposed to be this Saturday. Last weekend was Ren's bachelorette party, girls' trip to the city, fancy dinner, bars, the whole celebration thing. I had my bachelor party the same night, just me and some guys from work watching the game and having beers. Nothing crazy. Sunday morning, I am nursing a mild hangover and scrolling Instagram when I see a post from Tessa 27F, one of Ren's friends who works at the same restaurant. She is a cocktail waitress there, known for being a little messy on social media when she drinks. The post was a group photo from their night out. All the girls dressed up, looking like they had a great time. But it was the caption that made my blood stop moving. Last night with her side guy before she locks down the rich one. #bachelorette party. Last hora. And sorry, not sorry. I stared at that screen for probably 5 full minutes, reading it over and over, thinking maybe I was misunderstanding something. But there wasn't really another way to interpret it. I screenshot the post immediately because I had this gut feeling it was going to disappear fast. Sure enough, 20 minutes later when I checked again, it was gone. But I had the evidence. My hands were shaking when I called Ren. "Hey babe, how are you feeling this morning?" She answered, sounding perfectly normal. "We need to talk." "Now? Uh-oh, somebody's grumpy. Did you guys get too crazy last night? I am coming over. Don't go anywhere." When I got to her apartment, she was still in her robe, looking confused about why I seemed upset. I showed her the screenshot. Her face went through about 6 different expressions in 5 seconds. "Jace, that is not what it looks like." "What is it then?" "Because it looks like you have been cheating on me and your friend, just announced it to the internet." Tessa was drunk. She posts stupid things when she is drunk. You know that. "So she made this up." Long pause. "No, but it is not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." That is when she started crying. The ugly kind of crying where you know someone's about to confess something terrible. "I made a mistake," she said. "A huge mistake. But it was just one time, and it didn't mean anything." One time, right? I told her the wedding was off. I wasn't even angry yet. I was too shocked to be angry. I just knew with complete certainty that I wasn't going to marry someone who cheated on me a week before our wedding. "You cannot be serious," she said. "Jace, please. It was just a moment of weakness, cold feet. It happens to lots of people before they get married." "Does it? Because I managed to not cheat on you during my bachelor party. This is different." "How?" She couldn't answer that. I left her apartment, went home, and did something I have never done before in my life. I posted that screenshot on my Facebook with the caption, "Wedding's off. See above for why." I know that was nuclear, but I was thinking about all our friends and family who were supposed to show up Saturday, all the people who had bought gifts and made plans. They deserved to know why their plans were changing. My phone started blowing up immediately, family, friends, even coworkers asking if this was real, if I was okay. What happened? Ren called me screaming about humiliating her publicly, but honestly, she humiliated herself. I just made sure people knew why they wouldn't be eating wedding cake this weekend. The crazy part is how many people responded with some variation of "I saw this coming" or "I am proud of you for not going through with it." Made me wonder what everyone else could see that I couldn't. But now I am sitting here thinking about all that money, the deposits, the venue, the honeymoon, and wondering how much of it I can get back. More than that though, I am wondering how I missed this. 2 years together, and I had no idea she was capable of this. Anyone else ever had their wedding implode this spectacularly? Because right now I am oscillating between feeling like I dodged a bullet and feeling like an idiot for not seeing it coming. Edit. A lot of people are asking about the money situation. I am going through all the contracts now to see what is recoverable. Will update if I find out anything else insane. Edit 2. For those asking why I posted it publicly, when someone humiliates you that publicly, even accidentally, I think you get to respond publicly. But I hear the people saying I should have handled it privately first. Update 1. The money situation is so much worse than I thought. And honestly, it is not even about the wedding anymore. After I posted my original story, my coworker Nolan came up to me at work the next day with this weird look on his face. "Jace, man, I need to show you something, but you are not going to like it." He pulled out his phone and showed me something that made my stomach drop. He had been monitoring his credit score through one of those apps, and when he was messing around with it, he decided to look up mine for some reason. Apparently, there is a way to do basic credit checks if you have someone's info. "Your credit utilization just spiked hard," he said, "like recent activity that doesn't make sense unless you opened new cards." I had no idea what he was talking about. I only have 2 credit cards, both with low balances that I pay off every month. But when I checked my credit report that night, there it was. A new card I had never applied for, with an $8,000 limit and a $7,800 balance. The billing address was my apartment. The card had been opened 6 months ago. I called the credit card company immediately. After being transferred around and providing about 17 different forms of verification, they confirmed that someone had applied for the card online using my social security number, income information, and address. The card was requested to be sent to your address, but with delivery instructions to leave with Ren Ashton. If the primary cardholder wasn't available, my blood went cold. What purchases were made on this card? The pattern was clear. Charges every few weeks for amounts between $200 to $500, sometimes larger purchases up to $1,500. All over the past 6 months. When I confronted Ren about it, she tried to deny it at first. "I have no idea what you are talking about. Ren, they have your name on the delivery instructions. You have been using a credit card taken out in my name." That is when she broke. Not the crying kind of break from before, the angry kind where someone's been caught and they are pissed about it. "Fine, yes, I used the card, but it was for wedding stuff. I was trying to give us the perfect wedding and you are always worried about money wedding stuff. $8,000 of wedding stuff that I don't know about. Flowers, decorations, extras, to make everything special. Show me the receipts." She couldn't, because of course she couldn't. When I demanded the truth, the real story finally came out. She had been using the credit card to buy gifts, not wedding gifts. Gifts for Colt Mercer, 30M, the personal trainer she had been seeing behind my back. Weekend trips to nice hotels, expensive workout clothes, supplements, even a watch that cost $1,200. It wasn't supposed to be long-term, she said. Like that made it better. I was going to pay it back after we got married and combined finances. Pay it back with what money? You don't contribute to any of our expenses now. I would have figured something out. This woman had committed credit card fraud to finance her affair, and she was acting like it was a minor accounting error. But wait, it gets worse. I started going through my own financial records more carefully, looking for other things I might have missed. Found them too. Small transfers out of my checking account over the past 8 months, always right after payday. Always for amounts between $100 to $300. When I added them up, It was nearly $2,000. Ren had access to my online banking. I had given her the password months ago so she could check if wedding vendor payments had gone through. She had been helping herself to small amounts, apparently betting I wouldn't notice. When I showed her the bank statements, she didn't even try to deny it. I needed cash sometimes, and you would have said no if I asked. So you just took it. I was going to pay you back when, with what money? No answer to that either. The affair wasn't just cheating. It was funding cheating with my money while stealing additional money for who knows what else. I had been subsidizing my own humiliation for 8 months. I have filed fraud reports with both the credit card company and my bank. The credit card company is investigating and said they will likely reverse the charges since I clearly didn't authorize them. The bank is treating the transfers as a separate issue since technically she had permission to access the account, even though she didn't have permission to steal from it. I also talked to a lawyer. Turns out that identity theft and unauthorized use of financial accounts is a criminal matter, not just a civil one. The lawyer suggested I might want to file a police report, especially since the amounts involved are substantial enough to be considered felony theft in my state. I haven't decided whether to press charges yet. Part of me thinks she needs to face real consequences for this. Part of me just wants her gone and wants to move on. But man, looking back at the past 8 months, I feel like such an idiot. All those times she suggested expensive additions to the wedding that we could put on credit for now. All those times she needed cash for small things. All those weekend trips she took with her girlfriends that I was happy to help pay for because I wanted her to have fun. I was literally paying for her to cheat on me and planning to marry her for it. Update 2. The rabbit hole keeps getting deeper, and honestly, at this point I am just documenting this insanity for posterity. I decided to do some more digging before making any decisions about pressing charges. If I was going to involve the police, I wanted to have the full picture of what actually happened. I started with the hotel charges on the fraudulent credit card. 6 different hotels over the past 6 months. Always weekend stays, always for 2 people. I called a couple of them pretending to be Ren's assistant trying to confirm reservation details for expense reporting purposes. The conversations were illuminating. Oh yes, Miss Ashton and Mr. Mercer are regular guests. Always book the same suite, always request late checkout, regular guests. For 6 months, while I was working overtime to pay for our wedding, she was having romantic getaways with her trainer boyfriend. But that wasn't even the most infuriating discovery. I found her phone bill. We weren't on a shared plan, but she had left some paperwork at my place. Started going through text message logs, looking for patterns. What I found was hundreds of texts to Colt's number going back 8 months. I couldn't see the content, just the frequency, but the pattern was clear. Daily communication, sometimes dozens of messages, per Dalton Y. Starting right around the time the credit card fraud began. That is when I decided to take a different approach. I reached out to some mutual friends to see if anyone else had noticed anything weird about Ren's behavior over the past few months. That is how I ended up talking to Marcus, who works security at a nice hotel downtown. When I described the situation, he got this uncomfortable look on his face. Jace, man. I didn't want to say anything because it wasn't my business, but I have seen Ren there, multiple times. With some jack dude who definitely isn't you. How multiple times? Like, they had a regular thing. Every other week, maybe, they would come in Friday evening, leave Sunday afternoon. She always paid with a credit card, always seemed to have plenty of money to throw around. My credit card, as it turns out, but Marcus had more to tell me. The weird part was how she acted when she saw me. The first couple times, she just nodded, like we kind of knew each other. But after a while, she started going out of her way to talk to me, asking about you, how work was going, whether you seemed happy. What did you tell her? Just that you seemed good, working a lot, excited about the wedding. But looking back, it felt like she was fishing for information about your mood, or whether you suspected anything. That evening, I got a call from Tessa, the friend whose drunk Instagram post started this whole mess. She asked if we could meet up because she had some things she needed to tell me. We met at a coffee shop and she looked nervous as hell. I feel terrible about how everything went down, she said. But also, you needed to know. So maybe I don't feel that terrible. What do you mean? Ren's been bragging about you at work for months, but not the way you would think. She talks about you like you are some kind of meal ticket. My fiancé is so responsible with money. He has been saving for years. He owns his own place, always emphasizing how financially stable you are. Okay, that is weird, but not necessarily sinister. It gets worse. She has been showing people expensive gifts and claiming you bought them for her. Designer purse, jewelry, weekend trips, but she'd always say it with this smirk, like there was a joke everyone else wasn't getting. Tessa pulled out her phone and showed me some photos, pictures of Ren at work showing off various expensive items to other staff members. In one photo, she is holding up a bracelet that must have cost $800. She told everyone you surprised her with this for your 6-month engagement anniversary, said you were so generous, and couldn't wait to spoil her after the wedding. Except I had never seen that bracelet before in my life, and I definitely didn't buy it. Tessa, this is important. Do you remember when she started talking about me this way? Around 8 months ago, maybe. Right after you guys got engaged. But it got more intense over time. Like, by the end, she was basically treating you like a walking ATM she was about to get permanent access to. That is when Tessa told me the most disturbing part. At her bachelorette party, when everyone was drunk, she started talking about the wedding like it was a business transaction. Said once you guys were married, she would have access to everything. Your savings, your house, all of it. She kept saying she was set for life after Saturday. Did she mention divorce? Not directly, but she kept making jokes about how easy it would be to start over if things didn't work out. Said she had learned a lot about men and money over the past few months. I left that conversation feeling sick. This wasn't just an affair funded by fraud. This was a systematic plan to financially exploit me through marriage. That night, I called the lawyer back and told him I wanted to file the police report. Final update. Well, this story has an ending now, and it is somehow both better and worse than I could have imagined. After I filed the police report, things moved pretty quickly. The detective assigned to the case was this no-nonsense woman who would apparently seen a lot of financial fraud cases. She took one look at the evidence I had compiled and said this looked like a pattern rather than isolated incidents. We are going to need to dig deeper, she told me. If this person is sophisticated enough to run a long-term fraud operation on you, there is a good chance you are not the first victim. She was right. It took the police about a week to trace Ren's financial history, and what they found was staggering. 3 years ago, she had been engaged to another guy, Ryan, 31, who worked in tech and made good money. According to police records, she had racked up $12,000 in charges on credit cards she had opened in his name, supposedly for their wedding planning. 2 weeks before that wedding, she had disappeared, just packed up and left town, leaving him with the debt and no way to contact her. He had filed a police report at the time, but she was long gone and they couldn't locate her. The pattern is nearly identical, the detective told me. Long engagement period, gradual financial exploitation, fraudulent accounts, then disappearance right before the wedding. But this time, she didn't disappear. She got caught because her drunk friend posted about her affair. When they arrested Ren, they arrested Colt too. Turns out he wasn't just her affair partner. He was her accomplice. The detective found communications between them where they discussed targeting me specifically because I was stable and wouldn't notice small amounts going missing. Colt had been coaching her on how to maximize the financial extraction while maintaining the relationship. He had done this before too, with 2 other women and their unsuspecting fiancés. The detective called it romance fraud, essentially a long con where someone builds a relationship specifically to exploit their partner financially, usually with an accomplice who provides emotional validation to keep the scheme going. You were never a boyfriend to her, the detective said. You were a target. Both of them got charged with identity theft, credit card fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Colt also got hit with additional charges related to his previous schemes. But here is the part that really got me. When they searched Ren's apartment, they found a folder labeled J.H. plan with detailed information about my finances, my work schedule, my daily routines, even photos of my mail and bank statements. She had been documenting everything about my life for months. They also found similar folders for 2 other men she would apparently been researching as potential future targets. This wasn't someone who cheated on me and happened to steal some money. This was a professional con artist who had picked me as her mark and was planning to take me for everything I had. The financial recovery part worked out better than expected. The credit card company reversed all fraudulent charges and closed the account. My bank covered the unauthorized transfers. since they determined Ren had exceeded any reasonable interpretation of the access I had given her. The wedding vendors were actually pretty understanding. Most of them refunded my deposits when I explained the situation and showed them the police report. I ended up recovering about 80% of what I had lost, which is way better than I had hoped. As for Ren and Colt, they both pled guilty to avoid trial. Ren got 18 months in jail plus restitution. Colt got 2 years because of the repeat offense aspect. Both of them are banned from using dating apps or engaging in online romance activities as part of their probation terms. The restaurant where Ren worked fired her immediately when the story hit local news. Colt lost all his personal training clients and got blacklisted from pretty much every gym in the area. Ren's family, who I would met several times and genuinely liked, reached out to apologize and said they had no idea what she was doing. Her parents offered to help cover some of my losses, which was incredibly decent of them. But I told them that wasn't their responsibility. 6 months later, I am in a completely different place mentally and financially. I have got my savings rebuilt, bought a better car with some of the money I would have spent on the honeymoon, and honestly, I am dating someone now who makes me realize how abnormal my relationship with Ren actually was. The new woman I am seeing, her name's Alex, actually contributes to dates, has her own career ambitions, doesn't need me to fund her entire existence. When I told her this whole story, her reaction was, "Who the hell stays with someone for 2 years just to steal from them? That is psychotic." Which, yeah, put that way, it really was. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. Ren never talked about long-term career goals. She was always vague about her family background. She never contributed financially to anything we did together, but somehow always had money for things she wanted. She was obsessed with my financial situation in ways that seemed romantic at the time, but were actually just research. The weirdest part is that I am not even angry anymore. You cannot really be mad at a hurricane for being destructive. It is just what it is. Ren wasn't my girlfriend who betrayed me. She was a professional criminal who happened to target me through romance. I am actually grateful to Tessa for posting that drunk Instagram story. Without that, I would have married someone whose plan was to systematically rob me and then divorce me within a year or 2. Instead, I am free, financially intact, and dating someone who actually likes me for me rather than seeing me as a retirement plan. Sometimes the trash really does take itself out. Edit. For those asking about Alex, we met through a hiking group I joined after all this went down. She is an engineer, owns her own place, and insists on splitting checks. It is wild how different it feels to date someone who is with you because they want to be, not because they need to be. Edit 2. Yes, I still have trust issues, but they are manageable. The difference is now I know what actual red flags look like versus normal relationship challenges. Alex being financially independent and emotionally available isn't something I have to guess about. It is just obvious.